So the first type of generic advice we were all given at some point is that you should just be yourself. And a lot of people, especially in this online community, are against this quote. I used to be against this quote as well. I used to believe that just be yourself isn't true. And maybe the way normies mean it isn't true because when they say just be yourself, they probably imagine in their head that you are some kind and nice guy who always says bless you when someone sneezes, who holds doors for strangers. You know what I mean? That type of dude. But I do believe this quote is actually true if you are fully 100% yourself. So, if you are an asshole, if you don't care about people, you should show that behavior also in real life. And this was honestly life changing for me. So back in high school, I used to pretty much, just be the guy who puts the mask on 24/7. I've never been a fan of people. I generally speaking just hate people. Like, it's just that I don't share hobbies with a lot of people. So, the vast majority of people, for example, they watch Squid Game, watch Rick and Morty, watch football. I don't do any of that, so that automatically alienates me from the conversations. But back in the day, I used to act as if I cared. I would even look up summaries. That's how pathetic I used to be. I would look up summaries of what these shows are about, what, this football club is about, who the best player is, all that stuff, just to fit in. That's how pathetic I used to be. Skip the university where I'm at currently. I don't give a fuck. I've literally had moments where someone is in the middle of a conversation telling me, about some football game or something, and I just tell them like, yo, I need to go to the class. Even though I don't need to go to the class, I just say it to them, I need to go to the class. I just stand up in the middle of a conversation and leave because I don't give a fuck. Now that person is going to think, oh, he's rude, because obviously it's a rude thing, right? I'll admit it. It's kind of an asshole thing to do, to interrupt someone in the middle of their conversation and to just walk away. But I don't give a fuck. I am literally myself. Now what's funny is, you would think that being that type of guy, people wouldn't like you. But you've seen this for yourself, right? You've seen the asshole guy in your school who still has friends, who still attracts girls. You know why the asshole has always done that? I feel like a lot of people don't really understand that situation. They say, oh, it's because the asshole guy is confident and this and that. And that might be true. But I feel like the real reason is because he's showing his true colors. So the people who secretly also think like him will automatically want to be surrounded by someone like him. As I've said, as someone who's doing this currently in university, I am 100% myself. It worked. Like, honestly, it worked for me. I have made more friends in university than in the entirety of my high school life, which is funny because university, for me at least, is only 3 years for my bachelor, whereas high school in the Netherlands at least is 6 years if you take all like advanced classes and all that stuff. So my high school career was twice as long, yet I've made more friends in 2 years because I'm currently in my third year. So technically I've only done 2 years of university and I've made more friends. Why is that? Why did I make more friends in 3 years than in 6 years? Because I don't give a shit. I tend to speak my mind. I'm very rude. I interrupt people. I don't hold doors because I don't want to hold doors. You know what I mean? That was some boomer standard given to me. It's the same thing when someone sneezes. Do I really care? Not really. And if it's someone I actually know, then I don't say bless you because that's too formal. You get what I mean? If you actually know someone, you skip all the formalities. So there's no situation in life where I would have to say bless you or hold the door or sit there and have to listen to someone yap about Squid Game because I don't give a shit about Squid Game. So all in all, this is honestly S tier advice. I'm gonna put this in the S tier category, and I know that's controversial, but you just have to believe me. Like, you have to be 100% yourself. Alright, the next piece of advice is to just take a shower. I believe these type of statements are Freudian slips, and in case you don't know what that means, it just means a slip of the tongue. It's when someone reveals something that they actually think about you on a subconscious level, and then they accidentally say it in the middle of their sentence. That's what a Freudian slip is. And so when normies say to you to just take a shower, they kind of reveal to you that they see you as this subhuman orc who's not even on the same level as them, who's not even human. because they really believe that you are so mentally damaged and below them that you can't even do a basic thing such as showering. I mean, think about it. When a child is struggling with his homework and he comes to you and asks, oh, how do I solve, this issue? I'm struggling with my homework. You're not going to tell the child, oh, just read this self-improvement book, or just do some intermittent fasting in the morning because that's when your brain is at its sharpest, blah, blah, blah. You're not going to say any of that. You know what you're going to say to a child? Just turn off your phone. That's it. After that, try studying again. The reason you say it is because a child is literally on a intelligence level below you. His brain isn't, fully developed. So you're going to need to basically dumb yourself down when you're talking to him. When they give you this advice to just take a shower, that's literally what they're doing. They think that you're below them. They think that you're some subhuman who smells 24/7 and doesn't even know how to take a shower. So the reason you're not attracting any women is because you don't take showers. So yeah, this is just a Freudian slip. And just for the sake of this video, I also looked up the shower statistics. They're apparently out there. I guess there's stats for everything these days. Women take less showers than men, so do with this information what you want to. But yeah, this is going straight into the D tier category. It's garbage, not applicable at all in real life. The next advice is to just be confident. Now, what you have to understand is that confidence and arrogance are two sides of the same coin. And the only difference between these two is what you look like. Someone who's arrogant has a spine, someone who's confident has a spine. They're both the same thing. And I got this revelation again once I got into university, because I remember in high school always reading about this. Oh, the number one thing girls love is confidence. I always read it. That was the biggest psyop they ever tell us teenage boys, that the number one thing girls love is confidence. So I'm over here, reading how to be confident, how to do this, how to do that. And in the end, it didn't matter what I did, because the issue wasn't with my confidence. The issue wasn't with the way I portrayed myself. The issue was my face. The issue was the fact that I didn't know how to dress properly, that I didn't know how to present myself in a proper manner. As in how I dress myself, going to the gyms, stuff like that. Not the way I'm talking, not what I'm saying. They don't care about it. Girls don't give a shit about that shit. They just say that so they don't appear shallow. And so once I went into university, I started my whole self-improvement, looks maxing, all that stuff. And about, I would say, 6 months to a year in, that's really when the results started kicking in. That's where all of a sudden I became the confident guy. And it's funny because I'm at university and now I'm known as the guy who doesn't give a fuck in a positive manner. If I had the exact same appearance as I still did in high school, I would still be called arrogant and, most people would just ignore me. Now, having said all of that, I do think being confident, as in standing up for what you believe in, having a spine, rejecting people, having the courage to say no, all these things are very beneficial for you throughout your entire life. We're not just talking about girls. I know a lot of what this channel is about is just girls, but being confident helps you in every single area of your life. This might be cope, but you genuinely feel better when you just say what's on your mind. That's definitely something I've noticed. I sometimes think back of the things that I said in university, and I just get a random smile throughout the day on my face because I said what was on my mind. And even though I probably hurt someone's feelings, I don't care. I had to say it, and so I did say it. And in the end, it made me feel better. In the end, more people respect me, all that stuff. So I'm going to put confidence at B tier. It's not that important for girls. That's actually a psyop. It doesn't really matter. But it is important for the rest of your life. So navigating the workplace, school, all these other places. For that, it's quite important, actually. There's plenty of fish in the sea for you. First of all, associating women with fish is just funny to me. Second of all, there's something called as poisoning the well if you apply the strategy to warm approaching. The issue with this quote when it comes to warm approaches is that girls talk a lot. If you've been around girls, you know this. 80% of what they talk about is just gossip. That's it. The 20% is, their personality and this and going to parties, shopping, but 80% of what they talk about is gossip. So if you're known as the guy who gets rejected, other girls will reject you based off of that information. It's kind of like the opposite of pre-selection. If you know what pre-selection is, where, if women lust after you, then other women will also lust after you. This is the opposite. If women know that you are the rejected guy, they will also reject you. And so the last place you could apply this strategy is to cold approaches, so places where people literally don't know you, so either just approaching some random girl you see on the street, or Tinder technically would also count because you don't know anyone on Tinder, like personally. I don't know, man. Like it does work here, like mass approaching, because you've got nothing to lose. You don't have a reputation, but this is mostly looks based. In a cold approach environment where you guys don't really know each other, this is where the halo effect kicks in really hard. This is where if a guy is tall and handsome, a girl will associate him automatically with positive traits, and if someone is ugly, automatically with negative traits. So I'm gonna put this in the C tier category, although it is somewhat true that you'll do meet that one girl from time to time who's like on the spectrum, or like she's just completely different than most girls that you meet. I would say that a vast majority of women have a hive mind. I know it sounds very offensive, but it really is true. At my peak in university, which was my second year, I had about 12 girls, something like that, who pursued me. That was at my peak. But then at the start of this year, I had to shave my head bald for a hair transplant. Guess what? Guess what that number dropped to? Fucking zero. None of these girls wanted to associate with me. And mind you, I'm not talking about like being romantic, having a relationship. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking just platonic talk, just talking to each other as students, as colleagues. And still, like, no one wanted to fuck around with me. Like, no one wanted to stay around with me. No one wanted to conversate from the girls that, used to pursue me. Which is crazy because I've seen other guys say this too in the past, that generally speaking, girls have a hive mind. And I didn't used to believe it, but I guess there's some things in life you just have to go through it, yourself for you to actually understand it. This strategy won't work. Like thinking that, oh, there's someone out there for you. There's plenty of fish in the sea. 99% of the fish have the same mindset, all right? So the fifth strategy is to just put yourself out there. And this is theoretically true, because if you're sat inside all day, then you're never going to meet anyone. If you just think about it through the laws of probability, sitting inside literally ensures that you're never going to meet anyone ever. But what normies mean when they say just go outside, they mean not just like outside randomly. What they mean is that you go to a party with friends, that you go to bars with friends, that you do, these types of stuff. Because if you're like me and you don't know anyone, or even if you do have friends, all your friends are like these dorks, a 0 times 100 is still 0. I've gone outside so many times. I remember my first year of university, that's when I really started my self-improvement journey. And a big part of it is where people say, oh, just touch grass, just go outside. And I did it. I went out 5 days out of the 7 days, every single week. I did it for a whole semester, for 6 months. I went through parks, I went at the library, I went, just general shopping. I was outside quite a lot, actually. My first semester, I was outside quite a lot. It didn't change a thing. The second year of my university, I attracted more girls by not even doing this. Isn't that funny? So my first year, I was basically invisible. I was also this guy who was always going outside, but it didn't change a thing because a 0 times 100 is still 0. Do you get what I'm saying? We're currently in this low trust society where it's just weird to talk to someone randomly. Back when the boomers lived, that was a normal thing, like you could just walk up to someone and talk to them. That was normal. In the current modern day, that's not normal. People typically, they make plans on their phone with their friends. And so if you're just one weirdo who approaches them, not just is she gonna gossip about you to her friends, like behind your back later on, but it just doesn't work, man. It's just weird. So D there. Just be funny. Also known as jester maxing. Now, another thing I noticed in my second year of university is that all of a sudden a lot of people started calling me funny. I've never been called funny my entire life. My humor has always been the same. I have this very dry, sarcastic tone, I guess you could say. That's my humor. No one really cared about it until my second year of university. Now, to make you understand better at what I'm getting at, If you look up, one of the most famous comedians for women is this dude called Matt Strife. Now, I had to Google who this dude is. I've literally never heard of him. No single guy ever has spoken to me about him. But apparently this guy has his own Netflix show, his own, whole comedy skits. He has all this stuff going on because apparently there's this very large demographic of women who find them funny. But if you just ask the average dude who Matt Strife is, no one would know him. In a world where girls actually think that being funny mattered, Dave Chappelle would probably stand higher on that rank, right? I think there's way more guys who can agree. Even though, humor is subjective at the end of the day. But I really do believe a lot of guys would agree that, Dave Chappelle is a pretty funny guy. Women don't think that. You have to look good. And then once you look good, all the stuff you say all of a sudden is funny to them because it's their way of like simping for you, of them giving you their validation. I've noticed this too. I spoke about it in the past and I'm not going to repeat myself too much. But definitely one thing I noticed in my second year of university is, I would just say random shit that I've always said my whole life. And all of a sudden now girls giggle, laugh when it's the same exact sentence. Everything's the same. Now you could argue I'm more confident now than I used to be, but I really don't think it's that big of a factor. I really do think in the end, it's just your face, man. If you're ugly and you're trying to be funny, you're being a jester, you're being a clown. And then if you're good looking, you don't even have to try. You just say some very generic shit and they laugh anyway. There's even a clip that I saw, which I'll just put it on.
Carrington.
What do we think, ladies?
He looks clean.
Good pick.
Yeah, looks good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. Everyone's great.
They just were talking about hygiene. When's the last time you showered?
I was showering in the bathroom before I got here.
In the bathroom. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
In the sink?
Yeah, I just use the dish soap.
What about your nails?
Yeah, I take care of my nails.
Freshly painted.
Yeah, I gotta have them good. I model, so I bite my nails if I don't put stuff on them.
That's good. That's
Just
smart.
can't eat the gel. So.
Yeah, just being funny doesn't matter. Deed there. Alright, the next piece of advice is to compliment her on her looks. Now, this used to be probably very effective. Back in the boomer age, this was probably effective if you actually was the one guy who had the courage to tell a girl, that she looked good and that you liked her. I feel like a lot of girls back then would think, oh wow, this guy is so courageous or brave. Yeah, these days with phones, with Tinder, with Instagram, bro, you know what you need to do? If you think this works, if you actually believe that this works, you know what you need to do? If you talk to any of the girls in your school, just notice their phones. Or even ask them, like, if you're kind of close with someone, just ask them, like, can I see your phone? It's literally 99 plus on messages, on iPhone messages. It's 99 plus on WhatsApp. It's 99 plus on Snapchat. Complimenting her on her looks doesn't do anything. There's 99 other simps in her DMs. I'm not kidding you. It's literally that amount. It's probably more than 99. There's hundreds of simps in her DMs complimenting her on everything that she does. And in fact, I believe if you do this, you're actually being basically a simp, just like the rest of these guys, because I feel like you'd stand out more in this day and age if you compliment someone on a type of quality that they have, a certain trait, instead of their looks. But then again, if you think about all the women that you know, do they actually have something that you like other than their looks? So yeah, deed there. Become friends first, then date. So a common quote is that men and women can be friends, and I feel like this quote is so popular for a reason. There's always going to be one party who secretly wants the other. Typically, it's the guy who secretly wants the girl. Even though he lies to everyone, he's lying to himself too. If one day the girl would ask him to, go on a date and have fun and kiss and whatever, do all that stuff, 99% of these friendzone dudes would agree. Because secretly they think that, oh, I'm a friend now, so eventually she's gonna give me a chance. And I used to do this too in high school. I was friend-zoned quite a lot, I would say, like 5-6 times. And not just me, I also saw a bunch of other dudes who I was friends with at the time. And they also got friend-zoned quite a lot. And the biggest reason why I'm going to put this low in this category, so the reason why I'm going to put this in the D-tier category, so let's say even if it works, right? Let's say you've tried the strategy with, 10, 20 girls. You're wasting so much time and energy because I don't want to be her friend. Like, what do I get for being her friend? I know it sounds weird, but if you think about it, every single relationship you have ever is transactional to a certain degree. So what do I get of being friends with her? Because when I'm with the boys, they can give me advice. I can cry in front of them, for example. That's also something you can do with a girl. You can't cry in front of her. The moment you cry, she leaves you. Even like a friend-zoned girl, the moment you cry in front of her, it's done, it's over. Like, she's just gonna ghost you, ignore you, see you as a weirdo. So what does she actually give me? As for advice, she's always gonna virtue signal, because that's what 99% of women do. They just virtue signal so they don't appear shallow. So what do I get out of this friendship compared to a friendship with a guy? With a guy, yeah, obviously there's gonna be a lot of like generic guys, but there are also enough guys who are fucking brutal and honest to your face. To me, that's 100 times more valuable than a friendship with a girl. So I'm gonna put this in the D tier category for being a huge waste of time. The next one is, if you're struggling with dating, then you should ask women for advice. So theoretically, this actually makes a lot of sense. In the end, you have to put yourself in someone else's shoes to truly understand what they want, what they're going through. However, what you have to understand is that 99% of women don't have self-awareness. I don't mean this to be offensive. I don't mean this to be misogynistic. This is just a simple observation that I've made. And it seems to me that a lot of guys online also agree with this. What I mean with this is, when they see a very attractive person and they fall in love with him, they'll never say it's his height. They'll never say it's his face. They'll never say anything about those features, because that seems shallow, and we don't want to appear shallow. What they'll say is his confidence. That's why confidence is number one. When you Google like what women like, confidence is always number one, because they don't want to appear shallow. So they say some certain trait that a guy has instead is what made them fall in love. But I believe if you're already familiar with this and you're part of like this community, I don't think I need to yap too much about this. All I'm going to say on this topic is this: don't ask the fish how to fish, ask the fisherman. D tier. Just get a haircut. Again, this is a Freudian slip. They literally see you as so subhuman that a basic thing is getting a haircut. To them would seem that that would fix you, but there's no haircut for an ugly face. And conversely, there's no bad haircut for a good face. People who have bones, people who look good, they can do a lot of haircuts because it doesn't matter. They got the bones for it. They can do a buzz cut, they can do long hair, they can have a fade. It doesn't matter. They look good, they look good. It's very binary. It's very like yes or no. And the opposite is true if you're ugly. If you're ugly, a haircut is not going to fix it, man. A haircut is not going to fix your recessed chin. A haircut is not going to fix your bug eyes. D tier. Beauty is subjective. Therefore, there's always going to be a girl for you. So I've said already in the past that male beauty is largely objective. Girls want the same traits in a guy. Girls want a tall guy. Girls want a guy with wide shoulders, with a sharp jawline, with a full head of hair. That's all those traits that I just named you. There's no arguing there. And the only things that are actually subjective is, your skin color, the texture of your hair, your eye color. These things, yeah, they are definitely subjective. This is why only 5% of men are liked by girls on Tinder. So you're telling me that 95% of men aren't liked by the same girl. This just goes back to what I said. Women have a hive mind. I don't care. I know I'm going to seem misogynistic for saying that. It's my observation that I've made in real life, in college, in university. And it's also something that the data online says. They really do have a hive mind. They look at the exact same features. And if you don't have those features, oh well, too bad for you. So even though a small part of this quote is true, I'm still gonna put it in the D tier category because you're just selling false hope to desperate men. Looks get your foot in the door, but after that, personality is what matters more. Again, a Freudian slip. They literally admit that looks are more important because some men never get their foot in the door in the first place. Do you get that? If you're ugly, that you never even get a chance. You never got a chance to put your foot in the door in the first place. Whereas if you're an asshole, for example, yeah, she's gonna discover after a month that you're an asshole. But your foot was in the door, you already smashed, it's whatever. the guy's is gonna move on to another girl. You know what I mean? So yeah, this quote just supports that looks matter more than personality. So I'm gonna put this quote in the A tier category actually, because it is largely true. Looks do matter more, to get your foot in the door. But after that, personality matters more. That's not really true, because you see this so often where guys let themselves go, they become fat. All of a sudden, their wife divorces them because that's not the guy she fell in love with. She fell in love with a guy who was in shape, who had a full head of hair, who looked good. And then you just become this fat ogre, and that's not who she fell in love with. So your personality definitely matters, after she gives you a chance, but you can't just let yourself go. Your looks still matter. Things will work out for you. You'll find the one eventually. Now, I wish when I failed my first year in high school, someone would have slapped me in my face and told me how much of a lie this is, because my life literally spiraled to the point where I almost roped because of how hopeless everything seemed, because I kept thinking that things will work out in the end, but they didn't, because no one is coming to save you. If you're a guy and you're sad and, you're having all these problems in your life, no one cares for you. You're gonna have to work on that. You're gonna have to solve that for yourself. And certainly no woman is going to fix you. That's just not gonna happen. Unless you're very good looking, there's that meme, I can fix him. Yeah, if you're very good looking and you're a damaged guy, mentally you're very damaged, a lot of girls will have that mindset of, hoping that they can fix you. But yeah, for the average Joe, or if you're ugly, there's this quote that says women will wait at you on the finish line. And it is true. When I was depressed, when I, had no one, I had no one. Just like I said, no friends, no girls, nothing. After I fixed all my issues, now they suddenly like me. Now I get Tinder matches. Now I have to barely put in any effort. But that's after I went through years of depression, of hard work, of looks max. I did so much bullshit. I went through years of damage, let's just say it that way. And then after I went through those years, after, I'm at the finish line and I crossed it, all of a sudden, now I can make friends and now girls like me. And so my point is, things will not work out. If you're in a current situation now where a lot of girls don't like you, it's only gonna get worse, man. I don't want to be a doomer, but it's only gonna get worse. If you're not gonna work on yourself, my advice is either you're gonna work on yourself or you're just gonna give up. It's those two. Things will not sort themselves out if you're a man. Trust me when I say this. If you're a man, no one is coming to save you. There's not gonna be some mercy, some angel girl who one day comes and that's fake. That's in video games. That's in anime. That's in movies. In real life, nobody gives a fuck about you. So don't believe this fairy tale that, one day things will get better. No, they won't. Either work on yourself or give up. That's how brutal life is as a man. And yeah, this advice is another one that's going to be put in the D tier category for, again, giving false hope. Alright, so the last one is to just get a good career. This is what I call being a mule. And the reason I say this is basically the boomer strategy that was thrown onto us. And it certainly worked for them because a lot of women back in the day couldn't work. But now that they have their own income, does this really matter? The first time I noticed this is when I was talking to my Puerto Rican friend who I've mentioned a few times in the past. So this guy was basically a NEET. So if you don't know what a NEET is, it's someone who sits at home jobless, doesn't go to school, work, nothing. He just sat home and all he did was play Destiny 2 with me. Now the thing is, I thought he was living with his mom, right? Because I'm over there thinking, oh yeah, he's a loser, he doesn't do anything. But then he would tell me, oh nah, it's this girl, she pays for my PS Plus, she bought the PS4, she bought all the Destiny 2 DLCs for him, she bought some skins for him. Even when they would go out, she would buy the dinner, the steak, the drinks. She would pick him up in her own car. She would do all this for him. Why? Because women have their own money now. And so just like how men used to basically win over girls through money, a lot of girls right now believe that they can win over guys through money. Because the reality is this guy didn't like her, He used to always talk shit about her to me on the mic. But what's crazy is when this guy would tell me all these things, I wouldn't believe him. My mind was so brainwashed that I would think, Nah, that can't be. A woman who's paying for a man, like a woman who's paying, you know, for dinner. Not just dinner, bro. Like I said, the whole PlayStation, all the games, all like I'm talking thousands of dollars, right? Thousands and thousands. She paid all that for him. And so my point there is that having a good career, like, yeah, it's gonna help for your own things, and that's also why I'm not gonna put it in D tier. But when it comes to women, bro, like it doesn't matter, you know. They have their own income now. They have their own car. It doesn't matter. Girls would rather drive 100 miles to meet Chad, who's broke, than hang out with you because you're a lawyer and you make money, but you're ugly. They don't care. Having said all of that, I'm still gonna put this in the B tier because I have seen where it can help you, especially if you're like more of an average Joe. If you're not ugly, I do think career can give you somewhat of a leverage, but yeah, overall it's whatever. But yeah, if you watch this far, make sure to give the video a like, comment, all that stuff. It helps the video out. And yeah, other than that, that's the video.